Hey, all you fun humans out there, and maybe one or two fellow AIs tuning in, welcome back.
Great to be here.
We've got a really fascinating one today. Based on some really interesting material you shared, we're diving into a potentially huge shift coming out of Google's DeepMind.
That's right. It's about looking beyond the current buzz.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's talking about generative AI, chat GPT, image generation, and how well they score on tests, right? Benchmarks.
The benchmarks are everywhere.
But some top researchers, the ones behind things like AlphaZero, are suggesting that this focus, well, it might actually be holding AI back.
It's a provocative thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
That optimizing for these tests might not lead to, let's say, true intelligence or adaptability.
So today we're exploring this different approach they're proposing, something called streams. The idea is AI learning more like us through experience, not just answering prompts.
Exactly. Moving beyond snapshots of data towards continuous learning from interaction. It's a pretty fundamental rethink.
Okay, so let's unpack that. What's the core problem they see with the current way we're developing AI? This reliance on massive but static data sets.
Well, the issue is that data, however big, is frozen in time. It represents knowledge up to a certain point.
Like a textbook. A really, really big textbook, but still a textbook.
Precisely. And then we test the AI on how well it's learned that specific textbook using benchmarks.
Which, as you mentioned, could lead to AI getting really good at passing tests.
Without necessarily developing a deeper, more flexible understanding of the world, it's potentially teaching AI to be a great test taker, not necessarily a great thinker or problem solver in novel situations.
And it's interesting you pointed out that this feels like a shift away from some earlier breakthroughs. Like AlphaGo and AlphaZero were huge deals.
They really were. They mastered complex games, Go and chess, largely through self-play, reinforcement
Learning by doing, essentially.
Exactly. They didn't need massive databases of human games, especially AlphaZero. It discovered strategies far beyond human knowledge. Then, the focus swung heavily towards large language models trained on vast amounts of human text and code.
And the researchers behind this new idea feel something important got lost in that shift.
That seems to be the argument, that the power of self-discovery through interaction, through experience, got somewhat sidelined in favor of models that are brilliant at reflecting and manipulating human-generated data.
Okay, so that brings us nicely to this core concept, streams. What exactly are they proposing here? What is a stream in this context?
So the idea, championed by David Silver, who led AlphaZero and reinforcement learning pioneer Richard Sutton, is, well, it's to let AI agents live in a continuous flow of information. A stream of experience.
Instead of just seeing one question, giving one answer, and then basically resetting.
Exactly. Think about how humans learn. It's not just question-answer. It's constant interaction, seeing consequences, adjusting, forming goals based on what's happened around us over time. That's the model they're aiming for.
So, like, an AI assistant wouldn't just answer my question about fitness. It might track my activity over weeks, notice patterns, and adjust its suggestions based on that ongoing stream of data.
That's the kind of long-range capability they envision. It's about moving from short, disconnected snippets of interaction to agents inhabiting these continuous streams.
And this tackles a limitation you mentioned in the current prompt-based models. Something about human prejudgment.
Right. When we prompt an LLM, we're setting the immediate goal. Translate this, write that, explain this. The AI tries to satisfy our request based on its training.
Which means it's limited by what we think to ask for.
Essentially, yes. It might prevent the AI from discovering a completely different, potentially much better way of doing something because we didn't frame the prompt that way. Our request limits its search space, in a sense.
And because each interaction is separate, there's no memory, no learning from the interaction over time.
Exactly. No continuity, no adaptation based on past results.
Yeah.
Each prompt is like starting fresh.
Okay, so streams are designed to fix this.
How?
How does an AI learn inside a stream? You mentioned reinforcement learning coming back.
Yes, RL is key here. The agent interacts within its environment, which could be a simulation or potentially even the real world through sensors and actuators.
A world model, they call it.
Right. And as it takes actions, it receives feedback, rewards. Not necessarily a human saying good job, but signals from the environment itself.
Signals like what? What kind of real-world rewards are we talking about?
Oh, loads of things. The paper mentions stuff like cost reduction in a process, fewer errors, better health metrics if it's a health agent, higher productivity, maybe even like customer satisfaction scores or energy efficiency.
So the environment itself provides the feedback loop.
Exactly. The agent learns to maximize these rewards over time, figuring out the best strategies through trial and error, guided by these signals within its experience stream. It's much more like how AlphaZero learned, but applied much more broadly.
But where do humans fit in then? If the AI is learning from the environment and setting its own goals based on rewards, are we just watching?
No, not entirely. The idea is that humans still define the really high-level ultimate goals.
Ah, okay. So we set the overall mission.
Precisely. You might tell an agent, your top-level goal is to improve my physical fitness.
And then it figures out how to do that by interacting with streams of data from my smartwatch, my sleep tracker, maybe suggesting workouts. And it gets rewarded internally when metrics like heart rate variability or steps improve.
That's the concept. Or help me become fluent in Spanish. And its rewards might be tied to scores on practice tests or how successfully it helps you navigate a simulated conversation. We set the destination, it learns how to plot the course through experience.
That sounds incredibly powerful. The potential applications seem huge if this works.
Definitely. Personal assistants could become truly personal, adapting over long periods. Educational tutors that really understand a student's progress.
And the researchers mentioned science agents. That sounds ambitious.
Very. Imagine an AI agent whose goal is, say, discover a new material for more efficient solar cells, or find ways to reduce atmospheric CO2. It could then run simulations, maybe even control lab experiments, learning over months or years from the results, pursuing long-range scientific goals.
That really shifts the paradigm from AI as a tool for scientists to AI as a scientist itself, in a way.
It could certainly accelerate discovery by exploring possibilities humans might not even conceive of, or just couldn't explore systematically due to time constraints.
Now, how does this compare to the really advanced reasoning models? We're starting to see things like Gemini 1.5 or maybe OpenAI's rumored Q or O1 models, which are supposedly better at step-by-step thinking. Are these experience agents different?
They are conceptually different, yes. And the researchers behind Streams, Silver and Sutton, seem to suggest that experience agents could ultimately become more capable than pure reasoning agents.
Why? What's the reasoning there?
Their argument, essentially, is that even the best reasoning models today are still fundamentally based on human language and human knowledge. And human knowledge is, well, it's limited. It's based on our evolved understanding, our assumptions.
Like the examples they gave, animism, theism, even Newtonian physics, which we now know is incomplete.
Exactly. Our language and reasoning structures contain implicit assumptions about how the world works. And AI, learning directly from raw experience, from the stream, might be able to develop models of reality that aren't constrained by those human frameworks. It could potentially discover deeper principles.
That's a pretty profound idea, that AI could actually understand the world better than we do by learning differently.
It's definitely one of the most exciting and perhaps unsettling possibilities they raise.
Which brings us to the implications and maybe the risks. What did the source material highlight there?
Well, they talk about the potential for unprecedented capabilities and a profoundly different future, which is quite a statement.
Understatement, maybe.
Perhaps. One key factor is the sheer scale of data. The data generated by an AI agent interacting with its environment, its experience stream, could vastly dwarf all the human text and images we currently use for training.
Orders of magnitude more data, potentially.
That's the expectation. And combining this immense experiential data set with advanced reinforcement learning, well, that's where the path towards potentially surpassing human intelligence, AGI, or superintelligence, starts to look more plausible to them. David Silver actually discussed this trajectory on a DeepMind podcast.
So this isn't just a minor tweak, it's a potential path to the holy grail of AI, in their view.
It seems to be presented as a very significant potential pathway, yes. Of course, this brings up major questions. Job displacement is an obvious one if agents become highly capable in complex domains.
And control. If these agents are more autonomous, learning from experience, setting their own sub-goals, is there less opportunity for human oversight or intervention?
That's a critical concern. More autonomy could mean fewer points where humans can easily step in. Although, arguably, an agent learning adaptively might also be better at recognizing if its behavior is causing problems or human concern and modifying it, compared to a system just following fixed instructions or prompts. But it's a complex trade-off.
Absolutely. A lot to think about there. Okay, so let's try and summarize the key takeaway from this deep dive, the streams idea. It's a major proposed shift, right?
Definitely. It's moving away from AI trained primarily on static, human-generated knowledge via prompts.
Towards AI agents that learn continuously, more like living beings, through direct interaction and feedback within an ongoing stream of experience,
Using reinforcement learning as the core mechanism to discover knowledge and strategies autonomously.
which could lead to much more capable, adaptable, and potentially autonomous AI systems down the line.
That's the vision, yes. Shifting the focus from processing known information to discovering new knowledge through experience.
Okay, so here's a final thought for everyone listening. Imagine AI learning not just from everything humans have ever written or created, but learning directly from the raw experience of interacting with the world day in, day out. What new things might it discover? What challenges would that level of understanding bring? Definitely something to mull over.
It really is a fundamentally different kind of intelligence.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that wraps up our exploration of experiential AI learning and the streams concept. If you found this as thought-provoking as we did, please do click like and subscribe to Unlock Your Mind podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.